Hey guys, Pastor DP. We're in 1 John chapter 5, verses 3 through 5. It says, "This is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. For whoever has been born of God overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world, our faith." Who is it that overcomes the world? Except the one who believes that Jesus is the Son of God. I remember as a new Christian, I read this verse and I had the thought, I'm not sure the Bible's true. Because it says in verse 3, God's commandments are not burdensome. When I first started following Jesus, let me just say that it was hard to obey Jesus. I came out of a life of promiscuity, and I was a liar. I had trouble telling the truth. And it was like, it seemed like every single day I was aware of my sin and struggling again with lust and truth telling and all that. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not burdensome? This is killing me. Like, no, it's not burdensome. It's impossible. And I remember struggling with this, and I heard somebody talk about this idea that as you grow as a Christian, you're more aware of your sin. So actually, the fact that I was more aware of my sin was a sign that I was growing. Some of you are super discouraged. You're like, oh my gosh, I see all this wrong in my life. I see all this sin. That's good. That means you're experiencing the light of God. Remember back in chapter 1, he says, this is the message we have heard from him and announced to you, verse 5. God is light. God is showing you, he's exposing you the darkness so that you can walk with him. But here's the thing. If you're finding a place in your life that's hard to obey, where the commandments seem like a burden, in other words, they're not easy, that means, according to John, it's a faith problem. You're putting your faith, your hope, your trust, your belief in something other than what God says and other than who God says you are. And you're trusting and you're believing lies. Jesus said you will know the truth, and the truth will what? It'll set you free. It's the truth you know that sets you free, though. So you have to know specific truth. So if you're struggling with lust, do you know the verses about lust in the Bible? If you're struggling with fear, do you know the verses about fear in the Bible? Do you know the truth so that you can combat the lies? That's where the burden gets lifted, because you know you have the specific truth for the specific issue, and you know you have the power to overcome. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's overnight. I am saying, though, it's possible to obey God in that place right now in your life that you think, I'll never obey him. It's possible to surrender to God in that place in your life that you think, I'll never be free. It's about faith. And faith it's not the substance of our faith, so to speak, or the amount of our faith that matters. It's the object of our faith that matters. So I'm not saying work up all this faith and everything will be fine. What I'm saying is, if you trust in the God who has rescued you and the God who is empowering you, you have hope. And I want to give you hope today. You are not the same person. You're not going to be the same person. He is changing you. He's not finished. His commandments are not burdensome. You have faith to overcome. It is possible because you believe in Jesus. Lord, help us to believe that we can be free. Help us to exercise faith in what you've said about us and who you say we are and what we are to do. Amen.